usually I'm in an audience of a bunch of different people, and I get comments, many of which are lovely and I appreciate them, and some of them are not so lovely, but honestly not that many. But it's rare that before I've even started recording I have an angry commenter, so this is particularly hurtful. I literally just said hi. I haven't even started. Wow. So this is just saying, tell your friends. Send it to someone. If you enjoy it, if you like me, if you support Karma and the fact that she's such a hater, or if you like Starfield or dislike Starfield. Have we covered it? Yeah. Let's talk about space, baby. Sometimes I think about doing a stupid intro, and that one occurred to me as I was putting some makeup on my sicky face.
So excuse me if my voice is funny.
And I was thinking about saying, let's talk about space, baby. And then I was like, Jessica, don't do that. But the gremlin voice always wins. Anyway, let's talk about space, baby. Not just space. Skyrim in space. Sorry, Starfield. I got a lot of things to say about Starfield, and I never quite know where to start these. So let's start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start. And the very beginning would be when Starfield launched. Actually, the very beginning was the many, many years before Starfield launched, when all we wanted, if you're a fan of the Elder Scrolls or RPGs in general or Bethesda, was to hear about the Elder Scrolls 6. Or if you're a very new fan to the Elder Scrolls, then what you may have been calling Skyrim 2. We were super excited for news on this, and it has now been so many Skyrim remasters since the original came out in 2011. The 11th of the 11th, 2011. We are so old. So you think by now we have Elder Scrolls 6, but no, that's not what we're here to talk about today. We saw the logo of Starfield. I personally didn't really know what to think about this one. The idea of a space RPG has never immediately hooked me. So I was sort of middling on this one from the beginning. Now, when the game first came out, I think that my takeaway was the same as a lot of people's takeaway, which is to say, I actually pumped like 15 hours into the thing. Unfortunately, because I'm a loot goblin who loves stealing, that did mean that I spent that entirety of those 15 hours over encumbered. So on the other half of the spectrum, which was the opposite of pure joy, I remember wading through the water in Jemison, desperately trying to find somewhere that I could hock all my gear, or just slowly trying to make it back to my boat. I call my ship my boat, where I could put all the crap on there and then inevitably fill that up. So basically, I was the victim of my own kleptomaniac success, but it wasn't the most fun. I also was not immediately hooked by the constellation and artifact gathering conceits, which are the center of the main story. And basically, I think the best sum up I can give you for this video is that I can say I'm still not 100% sold on those two as the core main through line of the main campaign and all the characters attached to it. However, I am 136 hours into this thing. And if that ain't a Bethesda RPG, then what is? And that's where actually the first mission back after, and I put the game down for almost a year. I think 9 months. And then I picked it back up again just because I finished Elden Ring and I finished Cat Quest 3. And the first mission I played was up against something random that I chose, and it throws you right in. And there's all these mysterious things going on that suggest there's a terramorph in the area, which is basically like a xenomorph, but like a huge, horrible spider thing. And they are so fast and they are terrifying. It was like being thrown into Aliens, and it was honestly really effective and really terrifying. And you can't really face it like 1-to-1 because it was still pretty early on in the game. So it's like you have to set up a trap that then you can execute. And little did I know, I never try and make main quest progress, but sometimes, there's only a finite amount of places you can go, even in this world with 1,000 planets. So inevitably I will happen upon one that has the main objectives. And this is part of the main quest. And there are these little moments of brilliance like that, like other missions I've jumped into where you're checking out a derelict ship at the start of the Shattered Space DLC. You zip into an empty system and there's a ship that's like, do not board. And I'm like, okay, no problem. And I think that DLC, to speak a little bit ahead, has highs and lows. But I think the main takeaway that a lot of people have with this game is the engine should have been updated and it's not updated. I would agree in a lot of meaningful ways it's not upgraded. It still has, as many people have pointed out, that zoom to chat with someone. You go to click on someone to interact and it's like, hi, like that, which they've been doing for like generations now. And you know, they've got this standard persuade. There's still lockpicking, although I do really prefer this lockpicking system than what we had at Elder Scrolls and Fallout towards the end there. A lot of it does feel like Oblivion and Fallout and Skyrim, and there are bugs galore. But it kind of doesn't matter. It's interesting, because I'd say it's Skyrim in space, but some people will hear it's Skyrim in space. And to me, I think I originally was saying the former, and now I've gotten so far in, I'm realizing it's the latter. And all that is to say, I think if you don't like Skyrim, if you don't like Bethesda RPGs, I really don't think you'll like this. There are some fascinating additions here, which I think are important exceptions to the fact that the engine feels very similar. Things like shipbuilding, which I was like, okay, shipbuilding, very good. Well done you. If you want to go shipbuilding, because I never liked outpost management or building in Fallout, so I was like, shipbuilding's not going to be for me. That's fine. I can buy one pre-made. I've now put like 10 hours into building my ship. What is my ship? I wanted to build a slippy slidey snake. That's all I wanted. It's super long, it has lots of storage, and it has a mobility score of 0. Does that mean that it has no turning circle? That's right. If you're in front of me and you're firing at me, oh, you're screwed. I got guns all over the front. But if you move like 3 feet to the left, I cannot fight you. And it's my pride and joy. I was really kind of getting sick of the main characters, and now I spent time with them. I'm like, oh man, you've grown on me. There's a deep Bethesda game in here. I think it's more impenetrable than perhaps other RPGs in Bethesda's ilk have been in the past. But then again, thinking back on how much time you have to spend in the bloody jail where you're like trapped at the very beginning in Oblivion, and you're just hanging out in like boring ass caves. You got to go through that whole intro sequence in Skyrim. Like, the trappings of the early hours of an RPG are not unheard of. Personally, now that I think about it and I'm saying it out loud, I kind of think we could probably chop off the first 10 hours of any 100-hour RPG and be fine. But I understand the need to orientate. What I do think is really interesting with Starfield as well is I had an issue as an old school RPG player, that thing I always say, Jessica, remember? She plays WRPGs from the 90s. Anyway, I was really disappointed when I saw particularly Skyrim and its astrological sign, what do you call it? Constellation. Oh, that's ironic. I hated that. It felt the same as the way I felt in Mass Effect 3, where it was just, instead of like speccing into specific skills and stats, you're just given like 4 big blocks. And it's like, you want shotgun? Pick a block of shotgun. And it just feels so, like, that's so disappointing. Like, RPGs are a fantastic avenue that is probably only co-opted in certain facets by strategy games, by being able to engage in them effectively with build. And I think what's great about Starfield is I think it's rejected what I saw as being this huge trend, especially with Skyrim, where RPGs just wanted to appeal to the lowest common denominator. They did not want to risk that mass audience kicking off them because they were like, oof, these skill trees are like really complex. These perk trees are a lot. I can't engage. Because holy crap, the perk trees in Starfield are complex as fuck. but in a really satisfying way. There's so many things I want to spec into, especially since I fell in love with shipbuilding, and I'm really enjoying trying out different guns that I've never tried before because they have such an enormous suite of weaponry. I just keep picking up different things and seeing what I like. It sort of reminds me of how I was engaging with the arsenal available in Cyberpunk, which is a really fun place to be because normally I'm just like, give me the sniper rifle, give me Persuade. In this version of one of Jessica's playthroughs, I haven't really put many points into Persuade. I did at the beginning because I thought that's just naturally what I always want to do. But there's too many other things I'm excited about. So as a result, I'm a really persuader, and I have this thing I keep saying where basically when I do try persuading, I'm saying, come on. And sometimes it works, and a lot of times it doesn't. It's kind of nice to just abandon the way I normally play as well. Normally, like, when I play a game with a morality system, I have to be so nice. Like Red Dead, KOTOR, Baldur's Gate. It was like, you really got to be nice to people. It's like, I don't want to piss anyone off or have them leave. Like, that's just the kind of person I am. And I like that everything is so grey here. I would say even more so in just, it's grey because it's got jank. Cyberpunk didn't have as much jank, so there wasn't as much room to just be a rat bag. Here, I feel like I can just be a rat bag everywhere. It is such the ability to shoot first and ask questions later, which I'm really enjoying. I was trying to get into this criminal group called the Crimson Fleet, and me and this other dude were trying to get in, and I did not. It was sort of setting up the other dude for me and him to have this little like, yeah, let's get in together, let's help him out. And there's an avenue in the game that thinks you're going to be the nice guy, so I can be like, oh, Mathis totally helped me out, and I didn't like Mathis, so I threw him under the bus. I was like, nah, screw this guy, like he didn't help me at all, even though he kind of did. And they're like, all right, we're gonna cut him from, like, he can't get in. And then dude stuck around like in the bar before he got shafted off the Crimson Fleet space station to be like, I'm gonna get you for this. And I was like, literally I don't give a shit while he was saying that. And then one of the options was like, oh, you waited for me, oh, so sweet. And then he rocks up later, way later, like after I finished the DLC, when I went to a like random planet. He was like, hey, remember me? Like, you screwed me over. And you can just be like, I literally don't care. And then I killed him, blasted him out of the world, and it was amazing. Being able to like choose random alliances and just accepting, like Night City, everything's f***ed, so just do whatever you want, is a really nice feeling. And I think it's a feeling and a mentality that fits the Bethesda jank, which again, I think you either like or you don't like. You either see the ability to put on camo, crouch, take a cred stick. Oh man, full disclosure, got this cred stick from the pre-launch edition of the game, and I keep trying to pick it up from the table. Anyway, pick a cred stick up, get up, and then no one even knows you did it. You either think that is like, oh, that's not realistic, I like Baldur's Gate where they chase after you, or you're like, fantastic. You're either a person who wants to put a bucket on someone's head for them to not even notice and steal everything in their room, or that's not for you. Personally, I love that. And I love that they haven't changed that. They haven't been like, oh, let's make this more realistic. No. You can't just crouch down and take things and get up again. No, that's what I've been doing for decades with your games. And they know that. And I appreciate that because I got to be loot gobbling. I just do. Gobbling? I got to be loot goblining. I must. Every time I play this game, I pick it up with the intention to play it for a couple of hours, and I'm gonna be frank with you, I have been playing it for like 10, 12 hours at a time. It's destroyed and enriched my entire life. I think I'm gonna lean to destroyed. I'm absolutely loving it. I've completely sunk into it, and it's funny, I had friends who really got hooked in it at the beginning, and I was like, I just don't say it. And they go, what do you mean? It's Skyrim in space. And I said it before, but I think that is the takeaway. It reminds me of what Taylor Swift said. People, I know, you guys remind me so much of the meme that I bring up many times where it's, I bring a certain always bringing up Taylor Swift to the occasion that people don't always appreciate. I know you don't, but just bear with me. She has this thing where she did this speech for a uni and she goes, I got bad news. You're on your own now. But the good news is you're on your own now. And I think that is sort of what I'm trying to say here. The bad news is it's Skyrim in space. But the good news is it's Skyrim in space. And I think your mileage will absolutely depend on whether that sounds cool to you, hey, it's basically the same. It's not, hey, it's like a whole new Bethesda, everything's like this things, like I said, there's certain elements, brand new, fantastic. Weapons have never been this complicated and interesting. Mods have never been this interesting. Shipbuilding, brand new features. The playground's never been this big. But essentially, the core of what you're getting into is you got those memorable missions. You got people you're going to fall in love with. You got places that are going to be super memorable because it's all hot people, all the hot doctors are in one place in the galaxy, and we appreciate that. It's got those little finicky, beloved jank aspects where you figure out how to break the game. For you, not because, oh, it's unrealistic, this is stupid, because it's more fun. It's more fun to shoot someone in the face than talk something all the way through. Sometimes you don't want this little offsider you don't want to be nice. Who wants Mathis in the club? I don't want him there. I don't like him. There was a fantastic moment that I think exemplifies what I think some people would be missing out on in Starfield, because I didn't expect it to be a game that does this. And the example is, I entered a ship that criminals were on. Basically, I was like, you gons to give this ship back, because I had a side mission to do that for some random. And they were like, absolutely not. But you can come aboard and we'll talk about it. Now everyone remembers that I'm not a good talker. So I've been playing for so long and I've been streaming it. So he goes, you've got 20 seconds to convince me why what is this going on? Convince me why I should give you the ship. And I was like, all right, guys, I got to get a soda. I'll be right back. Let me know if the 20 seconds is up. I go get a soda. I come back. It's chaos. I was like, and I went back and it's like legit. He went after 20 seconds. This was not a main mission. This random dude was like, time's up, and just started shooting up me and Sarah, my companion at the time. And I was like, see, I never thought in a million years, I was like, this is not the kind of game that's going to put that attention to detail in. But they are, and they do. And I think I forgot that Bethesda do that, and they care about that, and they're capable of that. That there's so many funny lines of dialogue and things that feel meaningful in the new DLC. You have to be part of a duel, and you're like, this is why. And if you can't get them to sort it out, you can trank them, and then if you just hang around the next day, they're talking to each other, and they're like, this isn't part of the quest. You just walk by on the street, and if you aren't sprinting, which I always am, I managed to hear them just start talking, and I was like, oh, are they going at it again? They're gonna try and kill each other again? And they had this huge come to Jesus apology with each other that you can just stand around and hear. Like, this is a game that still cares about what it's building. And I think it's really easy to just see the 8 out of 10s or 7 out of 10s or anything that's been 6 out of 10s for the DLC and not realize that this is still a game that gives a shit. The Bethesda devs are putting in this attention to detail, are still crafting a world that has so many little gems in there if you want to go find them. Another thing that super exemplifies the playground bit, and I know I'm going on at this point, but I just want to tell you about it. I think another of the things when I was just 30 hours in, I just come back after not playing it for like 9 months. It was, you got to go kill this criminal at the bottom of this cave. And these cave networks, don't quote me, but I think a lot of them are procedurally generated because they are enormous. And I suppose similarly, the caves in Skyrim weren't exactly excitingly varied, but these ones are just riddled with hundreds of dudes. Some of them are just enormous. This one was particularly enormous. And I was like, okay, I got to kill the dude. So many people between me and there. I'm like, all right, you want me to kill a dude? No problem. And I was like, I'm just going to piss bolt towards, like, I'm just going to yeet my way down there. Between the jetpack and me just running, I just ran past hundreds of guys and killed the leader. And I was like, boom. And I just like, that's the stuff where I'm just like, oh yeah, this is still a playground. This is still do whatever you want to do. You want to run past everybody and do that? Sure, no problem. It just wants you to have access to the kind of game you want to play. And if you're willing to accept a little jank to do that, and the inevitability that some of the planets and exploration and missions and story elements won't always be to your liking, I think that there's a lot of rewarding stuff to be found in there. should you have the time. Or maybe you won't be a person who only gets one level every 4 hours. Maybe you're normal, but if you're not, I'm just like you, it's okay. Personally, when I'm playing and I get bored of a certain thing, I just bounce and do something else. If I've had enough of combat, it's, all right, let's go check out a city. Let's go see what's, form a merchant's alliance on Neon, or go do some corpo grunt work for Eugen, or, go talk to the people on my ship. There's a weird mechanic where your companions each can give you something. You can be like, hey, did you pick something up for me? It's like they're little dogs. And I talk to Sarah in particular, and I go, hey, do you have something for me? And she always gives me like weird bits and pieces that are like resources from planets. And it's often just like a bunch of sap she got from a tree. So it's just like, oh, thank you. That's disgusting. She's a little dog. But these things are just like bizarre little things that I want to share with people. Like, I enjoy sharing the weird emergent bits of this experience and the jank. I hope that there is somewhere a man who becomes 2 men and then half a man. In a way, it's a shame. I think that the first thing you're introduced to is Constellation and the artifacts, and you're really held on that one beginning location for too long, because I think that is not the hook that I'm sure Bethesda was hoping it was going to be. But the hooks are there, and they will get you, I think, if you're the kind of person who enjoyed Skyrim. Or at least they got me. I think that they're more subtle than you're the Dragonborn, or you're the hero of the wasteland, or go find your father. It's the littler things that will get you. But if they get you, then you, like me, will be unable to think about anything that's not Starfield at worst, and maybe working this game into your life in a regular way at best. Like I said, your mileage will vary. While I think it reinvents the wheel in some ways for Bethesda, in a lot of ways it doesn't. And personally, in the ways it doesn't reinvent the wheel, that's where I see my beloved Bethesda jank. And personally, I still really enjoy that. And I think it's something that is now pretty unique to the space, where everything is polished and there's still a little bit of like, but the game still runs, and it's a bit silly and enjoyable in that way. It's sort of like entering a beloved cheat code and just enjoying playing the game in a way that doesn't feel as serious as some of the other stuff that's out right now. So yeah, I think for me, it's Skyrim in space. Maybe for you, it's Skyrim in space. But those are all my thoughts and feelings. Please let me know yours down below. I think this is an interesting one, because there were obviously huge expectations, and then this huge diverse set of takeaways depending on what people were looking for, what people expected it to be, what it ended up being. So genuinely, I'm really interested in like the whole gamut of takeaways. This is just mine. But if you enjoyed watching this video, especially if you got all the way to this point, because I'm sure it's been really long, say I love you to Dan, because he's been editing this down from 50 minutes. And yeah, thanks for hanging out with me. Share it if you enjoyed it. Give it a like or a dislike. You do whatever you want. I'm here for you. And I'll see you again to talk about more things soon. Thanks. Bye.